Welcome to today's Explainer. We're about to go on a seriously wild ride across the biological spectrum. We're going to look at some absolute mind-blowing facts derived from our source material that showcase just how incredible nature really is, whether we're looking incredibly close or zooming way out. But before we look to the skies to examine one of nature's most majestic predators, I want you to consider the hidden wonders operating inside your own body right at this very moment. I mean, you probably think you know yourself pretty well, right? Well, your biology is constantly working behind the scenes in ways that will absolutely surprise you. So, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with number 1, surprises inside your body. 2, enter the bald eagle. 3, anatomy of an apex predator. 4, a highly opportunistic diet. And finally, number 5, nests and next generations.
All right, Section 1, surprises inside your body.
Get this. There are so many quirky biological functions happening constantly without you even noticing. For instance, just like your fingerprints, every single person has a completely unique tongue print. No two are the same. And think about your stomach for a second. It handles these incredibly intense acids to break down your food. So to keep from literally digesting itself, it actually grows a brand new lining every few days. Also, if you measure yourself right when you wake up, you are actually a little bit taller than you are at night, all because your spine stretches out while you sleep. Even the things right on your face have highly specific jobs. Your eyebrows? They aren't just for expressions. They act as biological umbrellas to keep sweat and rain out of your eyes. And deep inside your ears, there are these tiny hairs working tirelessly just to help you process sound. Moving beyond just those quirks, your body as a whole is a total mechanical marvel. You've got more than 600 muscles working together to help you navigate the world. And it's not just the big ones used to lift or run. There are tiny, highly specialized muscles dedicated entirely to just blinking your eyelids. Now, speaking of biological investments, let's talk about your brain. Despite being only about the size of a cauliflower, your brain is incredibly greedy when it comes to fuel. It eats up a massive 20% of all the energy your body makes. I mean, that is a massive biological investment for a single organ.
And even more mind-boggling is your cardiovascular system. Your heart astonishingly beats about 100,000 times a day, and it does this completely on autopilot. You don't even have to tell it to work. It just acts as this tireless engine pushing life through your veins.
Moving right along to Section 2, enter the bald eagle. So the really crucial point here is the staggering contrast in scale. Inside your body, the smallest bones you have are located in your ears, and they are literally smaller than a single grain of rice. But out in the wild, biology scales up dramatically. The bald eagle boasts a colossal wingspan that can reach up to 2.44 meters. That's 8 feet across. Just imagine that contrast for a second, jumping from a bone smaller than a grain of rice to an 8-foot wingspan blocking out the sun.
Let's formally introduce our subject here. The bald eagle's scientific name is Haliaeetus leucocephalus. Now, this is Neo-Latin, and it translates literally to white-headed sea eagle, which actually reveals a pretty fun historical fact. The English word bald in its name originally meant white-headed, not hairless. It refers directly to those striking white feathers on the adult's head that contrast so beautifully with its dark brown body.
But not all bald eagles are exactly the same size. And this brings us to a really fascinating concept called Bergmann's rule. This rule states that a species increases in size the further away it lives from the equator and the tropics. It perfectly explains why massive female eagles up in Alaska, which can weigh over 7 kilograms and span those full 8 feet, totally dwarf their much smaller cousins living down in the warmer climates of South Carolina or Florida. Okay, on to Section 3, anatomy of an apex predator.
These specs are simply jaw-dropping. First off, there's a clear sexual dimorphism here. The females are actually about 25% larger than the males. But regardless of gender, their weaponry is terrifying. Their crushing grip is estimated to be 10 times stronger than a human's grip. When they swoop down over the water to hunt, their toes utilize these rough structures called spicules, which act exactly like biological grip tape to firmly grasp slippery fish right out of the water. And they are incredibly fast, too. While just gliding around, they might cruise at 50 to 70 kilometers per hour, but when they actually dive, they can reach blistering speeds between 120 and 160 kilometers per hour. Their strength in flight is totally unparalleled. They possess such incredible power that they can fly carrying a fish equal to their own body weight. But what happens if they catch something even bigger, like a massive mature salmon?
If a catch is just too heavy to lift into the sky, the eagle won't give up. It will literally use its wings to row and drag that heavy catch across the surface of the water all the way to the bank so it can finally feast.
Which perfectly leads us to Section 4, a highly opportunistic diet.
Looking at their prey spectrum, it's pretty clear that while fish are definitely the favorite, making up 56% of their diet, these birds are incredibly versatile. They'll happily hunt other birds, which make up 28%, targeting everything from seagulls to large Canada geese. Mammals make up 14%, and yes, they've actually been recorded catching rabbits, prairie dogs, and even young deer fawns. They really are the ultimate opportunists.
And because they're opportunists, they aren't always doing the hard work themselves. They frequently engage in a practice known as kleptoparasitism. That is a very fancy scientific term for, well, stealing prey away from other predators. These clever, highly adaptable birds aren't above letting other animals, like ospreys or even mammals, make a kill, only for the eagle to swoop in, use its massive size to intimidate, and just steal the meal outright.
But hunting and stealing isn't without its risks out in the wild. While the bald eagle faces very few natural threats, they do occasionally meet their match. Eagles have occasionally been killed by common loons. Loons are highly territorial water birds, and if an eagle threatens a loon's nest, the loon will aggressively defend it, striking upward with its knife-like bill. There are actually documented cases of eagles suffering fatal puncture wounds from these surprisingly fierce loon parents.
Finally, Section 5, Nests and Next Generations.
The journey to the next generation starts with one of nature's most spectacular displays. Their mating dance involves flying high into the sky, locking their talons together, and entering a literal death-defying free-falling spiral dive, only letting go at the very last possible second. Once bonded, they select a tall, old-growth tree near open water with good visibility to build their legacy. And because they return to the exact same nest year after year, adding new material every single time, these nests get incredibly big.
Now, knowing the size of the bird, remember, we're talking about an 8-foot wingspan here. Just try to imagine the sheer scale required to build their family home. If they keep adding to it every single year, just how massive can a bald eagle nest actually get? Discovered in St. Petersburg, Florida in 1963, the largest recorded bald eagle nest was an absolute monster. It measured 2.9 meters or 9.5 feet wide and an unbelievable 6.1 meters or 20 feet deep. The whole structure weighed a staggering 1 metric ton. This 1-ton architectural marvel is the largest tree nest ever recorded for any animal species anywhere in the world.
We've really scaled the heights of nature today. We started by looking inward, at the tireless micro-quirks keeping you alive right now, like your cauliflower-sized brain burning up energy and your heart beating 100,000 times a day. And then we zoomed way out to the sheer macroscopic majesty of the bald eagle, a predator with a 10 times stronger grip, stealing catches and building literal 1-ton fortresses up in the sky.
It really puts into perspective how dynamic and perfectly adapted life is at every single scale. I hope this explainer leaves you eternally curious about the natural world around you. Keep learning, keep looking closely, and remember, nature is always full of surprises. So what hidden biological marvel will you discover next?